Retirement is supposed to be freedom. After decades of hard work, early mornings, tight schedules, and responsibilities, you finally get time back on your side. But what no one tells you is this: freedom in retirement does not just happen because you stop working. You have to unlearn some of the habits that helped you survive your working years. And I say that because I had to do it myself. When I first retired, I carried the same stress, the same expectations, and the same internal pressure that had followed me for years. I thought I was free, but I still felt stuck. Over time, I began to notice that it was not what I was doing that made retirement heavy. It was what I was still holding on to. Today, I want to share with you 10 habits that I believe we should all leave behind as we step into retirement. Some of these may sound familiar. Some may surprise you, but all of them, in my experience, can quietly steal the peace and joy that retirement is meant to offer. Let's walk through them together, and maybe, just maybe, you will feel a little lighter too. Habit 1. Always needing to be productive. For most of my life, I believed that if I was not producing something, I was wasting time. That belief did not come from nowhere. Like many of you, I grew up in a world that rewarded hard work, praised busy people, and tied personal worth to output. If you were not working, you were falling behind. If you were not useful, you were invisible. And so, even after I retired, I kept waking up each day asking myself, what do I need to get done today? I filled my days with tasks. I organized old boxes. I cleaned the garage for the third time. I made schedules for no reason. I felt guilty if I sat too long or rested in the middle of the day. I felt like I had to earn the right to relax. That same old voice in my head kept whispering, "You should be doing something." But here is what I have come to understand. Retirement is not about proving yourself. It is about freeing yourself. And to feel that freedom, you have to let go of the need to always be productive. You have nothing left to prove. You do not need to justify your time. You do not need to stay busy to stay valuable. That does not mean you should do nothing, but it means you can give yourself permission to slow down, to do things for joy instead of efficiency, to read without rushing, to sit without guilt, to breathe without apology. Now I wake up some mornings and simply enjoy the quiet. I take my time with breakfast. I watch the birds. I listen to music. I still do things, yes, but not because I have to and not to earn my rest. I do them because I want to, and that small shift has changed everything. If you are still stuck in the mindset of constant productivity, let me gently tell you, it is okay to rest. It is okay to just be. You have earned this chapter. Let it feel light. Habit 2. Measuring your worth by what you do. One of the hardest shifts in retirement is letting go of who you used to be. For so long, your identity might have been tied to a title, a job, a role. You were the manager, the teacher, the nurse, the provider. People needed you. You had a place. You had a purpose. But once you retire, that title disappears. The phone stops ringing, the meetings end, and you are left asking, who am I now? That question haunted me more than I expected. I did not realize how much of my self-worth was wrapped up in what I did for a living. I was proud of my work. I had spent years being reliable, capable, and productive. When all of that stopped, I felt lost. I did not know how to introduce myself anymore. I started feeling like I was taking up space instead of offering something valuable. But here is what I learned. Who you are is not what you do. You are still wise. You are still kind. You are still full of stories, experience, humor, love, and life. You still matter. Not because of a job, but because of your presence. In fact, retirement gives you a chance to discover who you are beyond work. It is an invitation to reconnect with your deeper self, the part of you that existed before titles and responsibilities took over. You do not have to earn your worth through labor anymore. Your value is not measured by achievements. It is felt in how you show up, how you love others, how you speak, how you listen, and how you carry yourself. So let go of the need to define yourself by what you used to do. You are not a former anything. You are a present someone, and that is more than enough. Habit 3. Trying to control your adult children. If you are a parent, you never stop caring. That part never goes away. But there is a fine line between loving your children and trying to control them. And if I am being honest, I crossed that line more than once after I retired. I had more time. I saw more. I worried more. I thought I was helping. I offered advice that was not asked for. I checked in a little too often. I judged their choices quietly, and sometimes not so quietly. I thought I was guiding them, but really, I was holding on too tightly. One day, my daughter gently told me, "Dad, I love you, but I need space to figure things out on my own." It hurt to hear, but she was right. Just like we made mistakes and learned from them, our kids need the same freedom. They need to fail, to stumble, to figure out what works and what doesn't. Our job now is not to manage them. It is to support them without controlling them. That means learning to listen more and speak less. It means trusting them even when we do not agree. It means respecting their independence, their timing, and their boundaries. Now, when I talk to my children, I focus on being present, not persuasive. I try to listen without fixing. I ask how they're doing, not what they're doing wrong. And honestly, our relationship has grown stronger because of it. Let go of the habit of control. Replace it with connection. Your children need your love, not your management. Habit 4. Living on a rigid schedule. For most of my working life, my calendar ruled everything. Meetings, alarms, deadlines. I had to be somewhere at a certain time every day, and I got used to it. There was comfort in the structure. There was pride in being punctual and dependable. So when I retired, I carried that structure with me. I made daily routines. I mapped out tasks by the hour. I expected myself to stay on track, even though there was no longer a track to stay on. And at first, it felt good, predictable, safe. But after a while, it started to feel suffocating. I was missing the very thing I had longed for: freedom. I had traded one kind of rigidity for another, and the saddest part was, I was the one enforcing it. One morning, I looked at my planner, filled with self-imposed goals, and thought, why am I doing this? Who am I trying to impress? And that was the moment I realized I had the power to choose a different rhythm. Now I let my days unfold more naturally. I still have rhythms: breakfast, walks, quiet time, but I do not lock them into a rigid clock. If I feel like reading for an hour, I do. If a friend calls, I let the schedule shift. And that flexibility has brought more peace than any routine ever could. Let go of the habit of tight structure. Retirement is not about squeezing more into the day. It is about letting the day stretch with you. You are not late. You are not behind. You are simply alive, right on time. Habit 5. Holding on to past regrets. Regret is a quiet weight. It does not shout. It just sits there, heavy, still, and always close by. I did not even realize how much of it I was carrying into retirement until the busyness of daily life faded. Once the meetings stopped, the commute ended, and the noise of work life went silent. That is when regret started speaking more loudly. I started thinking about moments I missed, words I said too sharply, opportunities I ignored. I remembered people I did not apologize to, times when I chose work over family, things I should have done better. And those thoughts did not come as a lesson. They came like a punishment. I kept asking myself, why did I do that? Or, what if I had chosen differently? It wore me down. I smiled on the outside, but inside I was still living in the past. I was dragging behind me a bag full of what-ifs and I wish I hads. It is exhausting to live like that. And then one morning, I read a quote that changed something in me. It said, "You can't start the next chapter if you keep rereading the last one." That truth hit me hard, because that was exactly what I was doing. I was rereading the same painful paragraphs in my head, hoping they would end differently. But they never did. They never will. The past cannot be rewritten. But the future is still wide open, so I began to make peace with regret, not by pretending the mistakes did not happen, but by acknowledging them, learning from them, and then choosing to move forward. Slowly, I forgave the version of me who did not know better. I stopped demanding perfection from my past self. And the more I let go, the lighter I felt. If you are carrying regret into retirement, please hear me. You are not alone. But you also do not have to keep holding it. You can let it go, not all at once, but piece by piece. You are still alive, still here. And that means you still have time to grow, to heal, to make new choices. You are not the sum of your worst moments. You are the author of what comes next. Habit 6. Overconsuming news and negativity. After I retired, I had more time on my hands than I knew what to do with. And like many people, I started watching the news more often. Morning news, evening news, breaking news, all of it. I told myself it was good to stay informed. But slowly, something changed. I started feeling more anxious, more irritable, more hopeless. It felt like the world was falling apart, one headline at a time. And even though I was sitting safely in my own living room, I felt overwhelmed, like I was carrying the weight of the world on my chest. One day, my grandson came over and asked, "Why is the news always on here? It makes me feel kind of sad." And that moment stopped me, because I realized it made me feel sad too. I had gotten into the habit of consuming negativity, and not just from the news, sometimes from social media, gossip, or endless online arguments. It became background noise that slowly turned into emotional pollution. The thing is, we live in a world that profits from outrage. Fear and anger grab our attention, but they also take a toll on our peace. And in retirement, peace is one of our most precious gifts. Why give it away so easily? So, I made a change. I started limiting how much news I consumed. I stopped scrolling first thing in the morning. I turned off the television during meals. I chose quiet music or a good book instead. And when something truly important happened, I found out about it without drowning in it. Now, I am not saying you should ignore the world, but you do not have to carry every crisis in your soul. You are allowed to set boundaries. You are allowed to protect your mental space. The news will keep running. The internet will keep shouting. But you do not have to live in that noise. You can choose what enters your home and your heart. Freedom sometimes begins by turning the volume down. Habit 7. Avoiding fun or play. I will be honest with you. After I retired, I forgot how to have fun. Not because I didn't want to enjoy life, but because I thought I had to live differently now. Slower, quieter, more serious. And for a while, I convinced myself that I was content. I filled my days with practical things, organizing the garage, keeping up with bills, doing repairs around the house. I stayed busy, but deep down, I wasn't really light. I wasn't laughing much. I wasn't playing. I didn't even notice it until one afternoon when my granddaughter came over. She was playing with a hula hoop in the backyard, spinning and giggling, making up games as she went. I stood there just watching her, and for a brief moment, I smiled. Really smiled. Then she looked at me and said, "Grandpa, want to try?" I laughed it off, said my back might not survive it, but something about her joy lingered in me long after she left. It made me realize I hadn't played in years. I hadn't danced. I hadn't sung out loud just because I felt like it. I hadn't done anything purely for fun. Somewhere along the line, I had started to believe that fun was for children. That silliness was beneath me. That adults, especially older adults, had to be composed, dignified, reserved. But you know what I've learned since then? That idea is nonsense. Joy has no age limit. Laughter has no expiration date. Being playful isn't a weakness. It's a kind of wisdom. Because when you let yourself play, you remind your soul that life isn't just about surviving. It's about living. Now I make it a point to do something fun every week. Sometimes that means listening to upbeat music and dancing a little in the kitchen. Sometimes it means playing cards with friends, even if we forget the rules halfway through. I've tried painting, even though I'm terrible at it. I've gone to comedy nights, tried out silly games, made faces with my grandkids just to hear them laugh. And here's the thing. Every time I choose play over pride, I feel more human. I feel more free. If you've been avoiding fun because you think it doesn't fit your age or stage in life, I invite you to reconsider. You don't have to perform. You don't have to be good at it. You just have to show up with a little curiosity and a willingness to be light. Maybe that means playing a board game. Maybe it means singing karaoke. Maybe it means wearing a ridiculous hat just because it makes your spouse laugh. Whatever it is, do it. Let yourself enjoy something for no other reason than joy itself. Because here's the truth. Life is serious enough already. Retirement doesn't have to be. You've carried responsibilities for decades. You've earned the right to be a little silly, a little wild, a little free. Let go of the habit of suppressing joy. Make space for it instead. You don't stop playing because you get old. You get old because you stop playing. Habit 8. Comparing yourself to others. There's a quiet danger that follows us into retirement, and many of us don't even see it coming. It's the habit of comparison. We look at our friends, neighbors, even people on the internet, and we start measuring our lives against theirs, their finances, their travels, their health, their families. I've done it. I've looked at old coworkers taking cruises while I'm just walking the same neighborhood trail again. I've seen friends post pictures of their grandkids visiting every week, while mine live across the country. I've read about someone starting a new business at 70, while I'm still trying to figure out how to use the TV remote without calling my daughter. And here's what I've learned. Comparison steals joy. Every time you measure your life against someone else's, you forget to appreciate your own. You stop seeing what's beautiful in your days. You overlook what's working, what's peaceful, what's enough. The truth is, everyone's retirement looks different. Because everyone's life before retirement was different. Some people retire with wealth, some with health, some with loss, some with new beginnings. There is no one right way to do this. You are not behind. You're not doing it wrong. You are living your life, the version that was shaped by your own experiences, your own choices, your own values. Instead of looking sideways, look inward. Ask yourself, what feels meaningful to me today? Not what looks impressive, not what others are doing. What matters to you? Comparison is loud, but contentment is quiet. It shows up in small things: morning coffee, a call from a friend, a walk in the sunshine. When you stop chasing someone else's life, you begin to really live your own. So let go of the habit of comparison. Celebrate your unique path. Honor your own pace. You're not in a race. You're in a season of life that's meant for peace, not pressure. Habit 9. Tying your identity to money. For most of my life, money was more than just dollars and cents. It was tied to my sense of security, my confidence, and honestly, my identity. Earning a living wasn't just about providing. It was about proving something, that I was strong, responsible, capable. worthy. And when I retired, the income stopped, but the mindset didn't. I started worrying more about every expense. I felt guilty for buying something nice, even if I could afford it. I felt useless for not contributing financially anymore. I even caught myself wondering, what's my role now? If you've ever felt that way, please know you're not alone. But here's what I want to tell you. Your value does not disappear when the paycheck stops. You are not defined by your ability to earn. You are not less worthy because your financial role has changed. In fact, retirement gives you a chance to relate to money in a new way, not as a symbol of who you are, but as a simple tool for living a meaningful life. I started shifting my mindset. I stopped focusing on how much I had and started asking, does my lifestyle reflect what matters to me? Am I using what I have to create peace, comfort, and joy, not just survival? Am I letting fear control my spending, or am I allowing myself to live? Living simply doesn't mean living small. It means choosing what's essential and letting go of what no longer serves you. It means trusting that you are enough, even without a salary attached to your name. So if you're still tying your identity to money, maybe it's time to untangle that knot. You are still wise, still giving, still valuable. And none of that depends on your bank account. Let go of the habit of equating worth with wealth. Step into this chapter with confidence. You've already paid your dues. Now, let your life speak for itself. Habit 10. Believing you're too old to start something new. I used to believe that learning, growing, or starting something new had an age limit, that the window closed at a certain point, and after that, your job was just to rest, reflect, and stay out of the way. It was a quiet belief. I didn't say it out loud, but I lived like it was true. Then one day, I met a man at a local library who was 82 and learning to play the violin. I asked him why he started so late. He smiled and said, "I wanted to feel like a beginner again." That sentence hit me like a brick, because deep down, I missed that feeling too. The excitement of discovering something new. The challenge of being bad at something but doing it anyway. Retirement had made me comfortable, but it had also made me a little stagnant. So I tried something small. I took a watercolor class. I was terrible, but I kept going. I started writing little stories from my life, just for fun. I even learned how to edit videos so I could send messages to my grandkids. None of it made me famous or rich, but all of it made me feel alive. If you've told yourself you're too old to start something new, please stop. You're not too old to learn. You're not too old to explore. You're not too old to change. The world still has things to teach you, and you still have things to offer it. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's picking up a paintbrush, or growing your first tomato plant, or learning how to dance in the living room. Maybe it's reaching out to someone new or saying yes to something you've always put off. Every time you try something new, you remind yourself that life isn't over. It's still unfolding. So let go of the habit of believing you're too late. You're not. You're exactly where you need to be. And this next step, whatever it is, might just be the most beautiful one yet. So there they are. 10 habits I had to let go of so I could truly enjoy this next chapter of life. Some of them were hard to release. They had been with me for decades. They helped me survive, succeed, stay strong. But in retirement, strength looks different. It's not about control, achievement, or proving anything. It's about peace. It's about presence. It's about being able to sit quietly with yourself and feel at home. If one of these habits spoke to you, I invite you to reflect. Ask yourself, am I still carrying this? And is it time to finally let it go? Retirement is not the end. It's the beginning of a different kind of freedom. Not the kind that comes from doing more, but from needing less. And that kind of freedom starts within. If this video meant something to you, I'd love to hear from you. What habit are you ready to leave behind? Leave a comment below, and if you'd like more conversations like this, gentle, honest, and human, feel free to subscribe. Here on Wise Elders Insight, we don't just age, we grow wiser. Thank you for being here. Until next time, take good care of yourself. You've earned it.